Hello students, welcome back. We are here to start this topic, formation of groups, where we will study about how different groups are formed. So let's have a look. The number of ways in which m plus n different things can be divided into two groups, one containing m things and the other containing n things. So we are dividing m plus n different things into two groups, one containing m things and the other containing n things. So the number of ways of doing this will be given by m plus ncn, or which in turn is equal to m plus n factorial divided by m factorial n factorial. So what we are doing basically is, out of m plus n different things, we are selecting any n things. So the m things which are left out will automatically form the other group. Let us see this through an example. Out of 4 players P1, P2, P3, P4, 2 teams are to be formed, one containing 3 players and the other containing 1 player. So out of 4 players, I want to divide these 4 players into 2 teams, one containing 3 players and the other team containing 1 player. So the number of ways of doing this will be given by 4 factorial by 3 factorial 1 factorial, which is equal to 4. Now which are these 4 teams that are possible? Let us have a look. If I reject P1, I will get one team. If I reject P2, I will get the other team. If I reject P3, I will get the third team, and if I reject P4, I will get the fourth team. So whenever I am rejecting one player, I will get one team. Either I can reject one player or I can select 3 players. So both of them are same. So either I can use 4C3 or I can use 4C1. Either I can reject one or I can select 3. Both of them will give me 4, which are the number of total groups that are possible. Now if in case the group size are equal, if m is equal to n, so if I want to divide 2 n different things into 2 groups, both of size n. So there are 2 groups, both of size n. So number of times a group of equal size is repeated, we will divide by the factorial of that number. The number of times a group of particular size is repeated, we will divide by the factorial of that number to avoid the repetition of the cases. There will be few cases which are repeated. And which will be that few cases? That we will see through an example. Suppose if I have 4 players and I want to divide these 4 players into 2 groups, both of size 2 and 2, then the number of possible ways of doing this will be given by 4C2 divided by 2 factorial. Since this group of size 2 is repeated twice, so I will divide by the factorial of 2. Now which are the groups that are repeated? If I select P1 and P2, or if I reject P3 and P4, I will get one team. And again if I select P3 and P4 and I reject P1 and P2, I will get the other team. Now both these teams are the same. If I select P1 and P2, or if I select P3 and P4, I will get the same team. Again these 2 cases will also be repeated, and these 2 cases will also be same. So all the cases are repeated twice. So we will divide the number of cases by 2 factorial to avoid the repetition of the cases or to avoid the false counting. So always we will divide by the number of times a particular group of equal size is repeated. Here the particular group of equal size, that is 2, is repeated twice, so we will divide by the factorial of 2. Now if I have m plus n plus p different objects and I want to divide this m plus n plus p different objects into 3 groups, each of size m, n and p, then the total number of ways of doing this will be given by m plus n plus p factorial divided by m factorial n factorial p factorial. Here m is not equal to n is not equal to p. So the groups are of unequal sizes, unequal groups. If the groups are of equal size, that is m equal to n equal to p, then the total number of ways of dividing 3 n different objects into 3 groups, each of size n. Now this group of size n is repeated thrice, so we will divide by the factorial of 3. Let us see an example. If I have 12 different things and I want to divide these 12 different things in 3 unequal groups of sizes 2, 3 and 7, then the total number of groups that can be formed are given by 12 factorial by 2 factorial, 3 factorial, 7 factorial. Now there is an important point to be noted down. The number of ways in which R groups of different objects can be formed in such a way that P groups of N1 objects and Q groups of N2 objects each will be given by this formula. And what we are basically doing is we are dividing this n objects into p groups. So there are p groups of size n1 and there are again q groups of size n2. So we are having p groups of size n1 and q groups of size n2. Since we are having p groups of same size, we will divide by p factorial, and we are having q groups of same size, that is n2 again, so we will divide by q factorial. So the number of ways of doing this will be given by n factorial divided by n1 power p, because this n1 group is repeated p times, so n1 power p, n2 power q because n2 is repeated q times, and divided by, to avoid false counting, we will divide this by p factorial q factorial. So what we will basically do is, if the group size are equal, then we will divide by the factorial of the number of equal size groups. Let us see an example based on this. In how many ways 3 teams of 11 players, 4 teams of 6 players and 2 teams of 15 players each can be formed out of 87 players? So out of 87 players, I will have 3 teams of 11 players, 4 teams of 6 players and 2 teams of 15 players. So the number of ways of dividing these teams will be given by 87 factorial divided by 11 factorial, will be repeated thrice, 11 factorial into 11 factorial into 11 factorial. So I will get 11 factorial power 3, again similarly 6 factorial power 4 and 15 factorial power 2. Now this group of size 11 is repeated thrice, so I will divide by 3 factorial. This group of size 6 is repeated 4 times, so I will divide by the factorial of 4, and this group of size 15 is repeated twice, so I will divide by the factorial of 2. So this is how we will divide different objects into group size if the group size are equal or unequal. So we have seen how different groups are formed when the group size is equal or unequal. So in the next topic we will see about permutation of alike objects. So stay tuned till then.